Alright, so this is my first live stream in a while. Welcome to 876 United Fox TV. And as you can see, the title of this live, sorry to do it so late, but it just came to mind to really discuss this, guys. I know lots of people won't enter this live and what have you, but I think we need to really speak today about the status of Eric Ten Hag moving forward. Now, let me just start off by firstly giving my viewpoint of whether or not Manchester United should sack him. Now, firstly, I don't think Manchester United should sack him for varying reasons, guys, right? My first reason, and a lot of persons might say, well, that's not a strong reason, is because we have sacked several managers since 2013 to now. And for me, the fact that replacing managers have not been solving our big problems, I don't think, again, we should sack another manager in order for us to see better things on the pitch. Now, guys, we have been calling and imploring for a change in our ownership. And lo and behold, it didn't really change, but someone new came in to try and fix things, right? We didn't get the sort of new ownership we all were looking for. But we can't control that anymore because what was done is already done, right? So we had a problem with our board. Every stake which were above the managers previously, from our CEO to our director of football, you name all of these requisite persons above the managers. We didn't have competent people making decisions above the manager, right? That was a major problem. Now that Ineos is in control, we see that there's a level of efficiency regarding the employment of, quote unquote, competent people in those positions. So yes, we can say, yes, another issue was that we didn't have competent people making footballing decisions, right? I soon get into a lot of things. Now, again, guys, the cycle again is repeating. We played well in his first season because these players, again, that's another factor as to why managers can't last long at Manchester United. These players played well because they wanted to prove themselves, which is understandable. And now they are comfortable with the manager. They know how to really get in and around this manager now and down tooling, excuse me, in some sort of way. Right, ladies and gents? So, you can really see that a lot of things are pointing away from the manager based on my points raised thus far. Right? So, I came off track. Sorry about that. So, people, let's get back to it. There's a lot of things causing us to always sack the manager. But I'm just saying to you guys, I don't think it's the wisest thing to sack yet again another manager. And yes, all the points that a lot of people are raising to say we need to sack Ten Hag, we need to do this, we need to do that, it's valid and it makes sense. But is it the right solution? That is a question I'm posing to you guys. And now I'm going to show you my arguments why I don't think it's wise. Because, firstly, I see that Ten Hag has a very keen eye for youth players. there's a few youth players that are being slowly matriculated in our first team squad that are really doing well. Garnacho is one. Kobe Menu is one. And you can say that Kambi Wala, if I'm pronouncing his name properly, he's doing a little thing here and there. He's not, doing extraordinary well where he's always, in discussions as a key player. But we see that he has some potential and the manager sees that and he's substituting him on in few games, right? He has a key eye for the youth players. And I would say and emphasize that point by him managing Ajax because he always had to, work with youth-based players, right? So yeah. Now another thing, ladies and gents, why I would say it's not 100% wise to just sack Ten Hag and then do another rebuild and repeat the rinse and repeat procedures we have been doing over the years since 2013 is that if we look at things, everything when you compare last season and this season, and for us to now be saying sack him is unreasonable. And let me tell you why I believe it's unreasonable to say that we need to sack Ten Hag. I'm saying this because, ladies and gents, is that yes, a friend of mine who is also a Manchester United fan says that he's the first manager to outright really get everybody he wanted. And I would say yes and no to that statement. Yes, in the fact that he got Anthony, which I would say is probably the worst signing based on his price tag in this Ten Hag era so far. Onana started poorly and now he's inconsistently good, right? At this point where I'm recording this live, he's inconsistently good now. Other signings that were signed under Ten Hag, such as Eriksen. Eriksen right now, he's a good player, but I don't think he can do the level of running he once could. Right? Mason Mount, a signing that I think could be a very good signing if he was fit and if he was always playing. I think it would be a good signing, or it could be a good signing. Lisandro Martinez, I think, is our best centre-back when 100% fit, right? So I'm just saying, there are a lot of goods and bads to his signings, and we can argue that he got all the players he wanted. But again, it goes back to now, if we had a proper director of football and recruitment officer and whatever, certain signings would be advised against. Just to also say we cannot 100% blame him. Next thing, persons are blaming him for the form we're having this season. But I would say to you, and a lot of persons are going to say to me now, or can say to me now, that I don't want to hear that. Because when Klopp, a manager who knows how to deal with a team that is going through several injuries, persons are going to say, Klopp, look how many academy level players are playing under Klopp, and blah, 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 blah. I am going to counter that statement and to say to a lot of people that you can disagree, no? So don't say that I don't know what I'm talking about. You're entitled to disagree to what I'm going to say. But I'm just saying to you guys that I think you all are being unreasonable. Now, you can say to me that, yes, I don't have an argument to pose because Klopp has these players who is bringing into the from the academy and Ten Hag can't do that because whatever. Klopp came to Liverpool in 2016, I believe, right? He has 8 years of experience as the Liverpool manager. So in those 8 years, from the academy level to the first team, they know the philosophy of Jurgen Klopp. So when academy players are given the opportunity to represent the senior squad, or represent in the senior starting 11 or coming off the bench, they already know what it takes and already know what is required of them when Klopp calls their name to sport the jersey. In contrary, Ten Hag now is in a season and a half now into Manchester United. And I would say, for you guys to say that he cannot bring in a lot of academy players to kind of put a band-aid over the wound, right? I think it's unreasonable because it's not enough time to know every crevice and every corner at Manchester United. So that's why I'm going to say to you guys that it is unfair for us to say that Ten Hag cannot do that with academy level, because he has not been there long enough for the academy players to know that this is how this manager wants to play. And then you're going to say, well, now you're contradicting the playing style argument. No, this is what I'm going to counter that argument with. Now, if the first team cannot play properly to suit the philosophy of the manager, how is it that every other stakeholder as a player can fit the system of Ten Hag? Now, let us explain what I'm saying, right? There are a few amount of players currently in the Manchester United senior squad that when they're playing, you can definitely see the difference in the play style. When Lisandro Martinez is on the field, when Luke Shaw is on the field, when Rasmus Højlund is on the field, we see the difference in how we play. We see that the build-up from the back is better. We see that the transitions are better. We see all of these things done better when certain players are in the squad. When you have players like Scott McTominay on the field, you know, when you have players like Wan-Bissaka, which is a good one-on-one defender on the field. I'm just listing. Maguire's on the field. Lindelof is on the field. You cannot get that level of transition. You can't get that level of possessive-based football with those players on the field. So the philosophy that you guys are craving to see, the players that replace the Ten Hag players that are playing to the philosophy of Ten Hag, we are seeing the difference. We are seeing that the philosophy cannot work with various players. So that is why I'm saying you cannot really bash Ten Hag for not implementing a philosophy. Because most of these players that can play the philosophy he wants to implement are injured. The ones who can't do it are the ones who are currently fit and ready to play. Right? So that's why I'm saying we're being unreasonable. Look at the players in the squad that can fit the transition, possession-based football. They're all injured, ladies and gentlemen. That is why I'm saying if you want to see the philosophy, you're going to say, well, oh, they're professionals. They should play blah, 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 blah. But remember, a lot of these players also are players from previous managers that fit a specific profile. So the profile that Ten Hag wants, majority of these players, other than the ones he brought in, doesn't fit the profile that Ten Hag wants from his players. So that is why I'm going to say, we can't really say that he hasn't, or it's taking him too long to implement a philosophy. Because look, guys, check it out. When players are playing that are from Ten Hag signings, the ones that can play the philosophy, they play well. Now, another argument was brought forward by a friend of mine about why we are playing so poorly and why we cannot perform against the top 6 teams. Now, at best, before this season, on paper, I would argue that we had the 4th best squad in the Premier League. And a lot of people might say to me that, so if we have the 4th best squad, that means we should be playing well. And I said, well, fine, okay, cool, we should be playing well, but if we have the 4th best squad in the league, right, when all cylinders are being fired, this season now that a plethora of them are injured, how is it that we should be on that same 4th best in the league quality? Think about it. We're unreasonable. We keep speaking about a rebuild. A rebuild cannot occur if we're constantly sacking the spearhead of a rebuild. It cannot happen. So if Ineos comes in and just keep sacking and sacking and sacking, a proper rebuild cannot be done. So I'm not saying that because we need to rebuild and we don't trust this manager and whatever. I cannot be saying that we're not going to do better. Guys, everything have to be flushed out of this club. That is separate and apart from the manager. At this point, give this manager a chance. And I'm not saying to give specifically Ten Hag a chance. I'm saying give him a chance or give him a fair chance. Let him do more. If we give him the chance to do more and it still is not working, then I will 100% get on the sacking train. But he has not done enough. He is still dealing with players from Van Gaal. Still dealing with players for Mourinho. So that's why I'm saying to you guys, it is an unfair thing to do to say to sack him. And if we're going to talk about all of the stuff that are preventing Ten Hag's success this season, he has dealt with injuries on top of injuries, dressing room problems, leaks to the media. Which big club nowadays has these problems? Have you heard Real Madrid players coming out and speaking to the media constantly? Yes, they come out and speak to the media about various things and various things regarding the dressing room. But how often is that done? And normally, when that is done at big clubs like Real Madrid, big clubs like Liverpool, those players, they are slowly sieved out of the club. Manchester United is the only big club that players constantly get away with things like that. Because yes, people can say, no man, the leaks are fake. It cannot be fake when it's happening so often. There has to be some truth in the pudding right there. So I'm saying to you, we have a rotten core of players, regardless of the ones that came in by Ten Hag. We have a rotten core of players. There's a core group of players. I'm not saying they are core players. They are a core group of players that are renowned for spoiling the bunch. And if they are constantly there, we're still going to have this problem where we always have inconsistency. This season we do well and finish second because they have that ability to just obliterate everything. And then they just have another case where they just are the worst to watch, worst of this, worst of everything. So we need to give Ten Hag the time to get rid of a lot of players. A lot more players. Players that fits his philosophy and players that are willing to die for the badge. I don't mean the word die literally. But we need that. Right? We need that. Believe you me. And until we can get that done, there's no change to be made at Manchester United. You get me?